Hello critters, I'm Creature, and today we're reviewing the Deathray. This is a base game gun that we got from any mission, llama, mini boss cache, or possibly the collection book if you want to, but it's not really a good option. It's just overly expensive for a base game gun, since the base game guns are very common in, mission wars, llama caches, all that stuff. It's a fairly common weapon since base game, so I really don't suggest getting from the collection book because it's a waste. So what's the catch of the weapon? Well, since it's a laser gun, it of course eats up a lot of energy ammo, but it has very decent damage output and very high accuracy. It's a very accurate gun, especially when you're moving or running. From my experience, it's okay for crowds, but I kind of see more use at a distance than like running up close and spraying with the assault rifle like the Siegebreaker. This gun is very similar to the Siegebreaker, but not in the sense where like, oh, you're shooting the enemies and you're up close and you're getting personal, and it can also be mid-far or far away. This is very much more of you're at middle distance or far away distance. This is not up close weapon. I do believe it fires a little bit slower than the Siegebreaker. Alright, so on the right we have the Siegebreaker, on the left we have the Deathray. Comparing them, we can see that the Deathray actually puts out more damage per second. No, not per second, gosh. Oh, I haven't recorded a video in a long time. It's been a month. I'm sorry for any slip-ups in this video. I'll try to correct them with pop-ups or something. I'll try, but it's been a while, so I might get a little messed up in some spots. But as we can see, the Deathray has a higher damage output, not damage per second, but a higher damage output with a higher headshot. But it does have a lower fire rate, only by 2. Well, actually more like 2.5 slower fire rate, and also has a smaller magazine, but we are running this with a reload instead of a magazine. The reload for this, I believe, is around 3 seconds, I believe, if I remember correctly. I haven't checked, but I could probably pop it on the screen when it comes to that time. But it has very similar stats to the Siegebreaker. The only real difference is, of course, the ammo cost and the accuracy. Now, I don't think we can see... Yeah, no, there's no accuracy little thing here, which I find kind of stinky. Imagine just being able to look at the accuracy differences, like, right here. That would be really nice. Fortnite, Fortnite, please. Oh, please, Fortnite. But point being, we'll have to go in game to show that. So, yeah. Here's the loadout we'll be using, just a very normal and simple assault rifle build. With Sledgehammer, totally rocking out, Ramirez, and ammo recovery with Syrian Might. I've said this, I think, before in some videos, but essentially damage, crit, damage, well, not damage, but a tool to gain more damage. Damage, reload, damage. Like, this is just a very damage outputs of build, I guess you could word it. So it's decent for that. Now, before we get into the review part, where we go in game and we kind of just test it on the enemies, I do want to say that I stream more than I make videos. I stream about every day. Of course, I don't stream on, like, holidays or such usually. Like Valentine's, I won't be streaming on Valentine's, but I'm pretty sure this is going out after Valentine's, so this wouldn't make any sense. But I do stream. Link in description. We have a very chill environment on Twitch. We kind of just hang out, and I just talk and play games. Also, I do play more games than just Fortnite. We're playing a lot of Minecraft recently, building a turbo mansion in the true spirit of Handsome Jack from Borderlands. But yes, I'm on there. I'm on there a lot more than here on YouTube. So I do really hope you go check it out. It is the nicer area in my hobby of making videos and giving content. I guess I'm a content creator, actually, if the more I think about it, but yeah, I'm on Twitch. Anyways, let's get a game and let's test out this gun for the 6th time, because I've recorded this video so many times, but I tried Linux, and Linux it couldn't do it. It just couldn't do it. But I'll see you in game. Alrighty, we are in-game, and we have the Deathray crafted. We also have a Siegebreaker for a quick comparison of the accuracy. But if we just aim down sight and start shooting into these husks, you see the bloom of the gun, I believe they call it, is very accurate. It stays very much to the center of the weapon, or to the dot, I guess, is a more proper way of wording it. But Point being, it's a very accurate gun, especially when shooting. Now let's pull up the Siege Breaker and do a quick comparison with it. As you can see, it's about as accurate, but if you're moving around, it does bloom out a bit more than the Deathray. The accuracy is... the accuracy difference is very, like, light, I guess you could say. They're very similar weapons. They're very similar, but the Deathray is more accurate. And when crouching, it's even more accurate. Like I said, it's very much a mid-range weapon. I'm using it a bit improperly right now. But, point being, these guns are very similar, so if you're just looking for an assault rifle, I do just say go with the Siege Breaker. But for the review, we will not be, comparing them anymore, because they're just that similar. But I kind of just want to show off the Deathray, because it is a very interesting gun.
Keep up the good work.
So, yeah. Alright, so up ahead, we do have a bit of a lobber. Now, you might be, why are we reviewing a lobber all by itself? Well, that's not really the idea. I'm actually going to try to get away from it as far as possible without it losing interest. Alright, so about here, as you can see, look how small that is. The little bloom reticle. It's super small. So if you have like a small target that's really far away that you just need to take out, like, a love lobber, especially since we're in that season. I hate them. But especially if you're having to deal with them, this gun is really good for that. Now, of course, if it was the Siege Breaker, it would have missed a couple of his shots, but still killed it. But, let's just put it in a weird bubble of its own right now. Where, let's pretend the Siege Breaker doesn't exist, and is probably one of the best assault rifles in the game. And let's just give it its own space. And just say that, hey, it's very good and accurate, but so is a lot of other guns. It's really hard to justify the accuracy of this gun, especially since a lot of other guns, exist that are super accurate and are cheaper to use. Alright, so we have a bit of a crowd up ahead. No, when I say up ahead, I mean like, up ahead. Because, it is a good range. But as you can see, it's doing fairly fine. Now, I'm not sure about the damage fall off of this weapon. I'm not sure if it's any more or less as just, the default amount. It feels as powerful as it normally does, even from a range. I really hate raptors, oh my god. But, as you see, the damage is fine. If you're looking for a gun for, like, maybe a quest where you have to use energy weapons, I'm not sure if any actually exist or are like that. But, if you need one for some reason, and you just need it quick and accessible and, damage output of decently... if you can't tell, I'm really bad at wording. If this is your first video, I am so sorry you see me like this. But point being, it has good damage output, it has good range. It's fairly expensive to use, especially since it's eating up a lot of, energy ammo, which is, I think is the most expensive ammo type in the game besides explosive. So yeah, you might have to take that in mind if you're not rich on batteries, which, understandably not everyone is. And that's fine. But, I do think it's important to take that stuff into consideration, just don't... Like, something that really annoys me is when you see a lot of those people that just, like, spam the plasmatic discharger before the nerf. Yeah, before they nerfed the plasmatic discharger. Actually, not nerfed, but fixed it because it was doing double damage to things it was not meant to be doing, double damage to. Back before they fixed it, people would just only spam it. They would just turn off their brain and just spam the one weapon. And I found that really annoying. Because besides, lagging out the game a lot, because, I think how it worked is like, it was like trying to check if it can destroy something or not, and it would just fly by. But, besides that, visual clutter and just loudness, because god, that gun is so loud. It was just really annoying. Like, oh, you're trying to do an encampment or something? Oh, never mind. Your teammate with little Billy _2 ran by with his plasmatic discharger and killed the whole thing. And it was just really annoying. I'm glad that they fixed that and people don't really use it anymore because I swear, the second something gets fixed or changed, the community kind of just goes, oh, don't want to use it anymore. Oh, I'm uninstalling. I swear, this community at times is super stupid. they're really stupid at times. I'm sorry. But yeah, as back to the actual weapon. I'm just playing with a shotgun. I want to test out for maybe a video. But as you can see, when it comes up to a crowd and the nurse, it does it fairly fine. Like I said, this gun is very similar to the Siege Breaker. If you've used the Siege Breaker, you basically also used the Deathray. They're just that similar. It's just, you know, the Deathray is more expensive and more accurate. So, yeah. So, I don't know how to explain what I have to say about this defense. First off, it's a water storm. You shouldn't be using bricks. Double damage. They do double damage to brick. Secondly, this is terrible spam placement of these traps right here. They'll work like this, but it should always be at least 2 tiles tall. These are fine. These are fine. These here, these are okay. You don't really need to line up the wall like this. Not at all. Also, if you're gonna do a blockade to a staircase area, of course you should use the matching element, and also probably do something like this, so they just, you know, can't and don't want to go up it. Just give them extra work to do. That's how they tend to avoid things. You should always check all sides. Make sure this side is also defense, which it isn't defended at all. It's a defense, but, you know, point being, do your due diligence, and please have a basic understanding of these game mechanics. They're easy to learn. Now, of course, since it's been a while since I last played the game, my building is a little scuff in some spots, you know. Especially since this is a Scurvy Skulls zone. Or Scurvy Shells, I think? Not Scurvy Skulls. You know, I think it's Scurvy Shells. But since Pirate Zone, it's a Pirate Zone. Whatever. Point being, you know, you have to work around the water a lot. This should make it so they don't want to just walk around it. So hopefully they'll just go down here, through these broadsides I place, through this. This is here just in case they do go around, and these will just zap them from back here, and those will zap them if they go to the front. These will also just, you know, tag them along, and then these will, you know, these will stop smashers. They'll launch it back. It's very scuffed. I haven't played in a while, so, you know, it's gonna be scuffed. But if you just compare the designs a bit, you can see that they have a bit of idea what they kind of wanted to do. Kind of see the vision. It's just their design is very spammy. I feel like this could have been made a lot better, but it works. I wouldn't have used bricks, especially to block off an entire side. But let's get into the defense, yeah? So let's pop a wafer and just start shooting into some more, you know, these monsters. Which, as you can see, like the Siege Breaker, it's going to do fine against them, especially from popping wafers and just kind of going into the crowd. Now, this gun isn't from early recordings, which you won't be able to see because, you know, they were bad. But I was able to dictate that this gun wasn't really affliction crit reliant. It didn't need the affliction or the crits from the affliction to kind of work. This gun can be, I used the word, I forgot, but it, self-sustainable, yes. The gun is very much self-sustainable. It doesn't need affliction, so you could probably replace it with something else. I'm not sure what other 6-birds it can have, but hey, you know, the option's there. You don't need affliction with it because it is just a strong assault rifle. I think there is like headshots cause explosions, that might be good. But normally speaking, you might want affliction so you can just go pan around the enemies and have affliction kick in for them. That's how I personally love to use my guns. But I know that's not how everyone does it, so, you know, that's fine. But yeah. As you see with my terrible aim, because I'm on controller, and I've been playing a lot of TF2 on PC and like Borderlands 2 on PC. So I'm just not really all that used to using a controller to shoot a gun anymore. It feels very alien and weird. I don't really like it. But as you can see from my weird aim, the gun is, you know, it's gunning. it's shooting bullets and it's killing things. You know, like a gun. Now again, if we just go in our inventory and grab out the Siege Breaker, you'll probably not even realize much of a difference in the damage output, because, like I said, these things are very similar. It's always similar fact that the transition between them both is essentially seamless. So, yeah. Now, I just heard a smasher, but I don't know where it is. It might be down here. Yes! Here we go. Let's see if we can kill this in 30 seconds with the Deathray, with a wafer. And, yeah! It can be a smasher weapon, or, you know, a missponsor or a smasher weapon. This can work for that, but then again, so can the Siege Breaker. Yeah, you're starting to see the pattern, aren't you? The two guns are just so similar, honestly. It's really interesting to me. It's just the accuracy is what changes them. But yeah, I'll see you for the mini boss if it's one we can actually, you know, fight and kill. So yeah. So I just missed the mini boss. there was no spawning sound effect. Damn. We missed the mini boss, so I might have to load into another match to see if we can fight one. I might do that, I might not. It really just does depend. Well, actually, I don't need to. I can already just tell you, it's not a mini boss weapon. From the early recordings of this video, since I've heard re-record this video like 5 times, it's really not a mini boss weapon. It cannot perform like, you know, a bazooka or the Huskbuster, or this real, like, you know, the 3 big mini boss weapons, you know. Storm King's sword, I forgot what it's called, I think Scourge, right? The Huskbuster, and then the pot shot. Like, those 3 weapons are very much just mini boss killers, essentially. They're just really good for the job, and we should always kind of be using, because they're just, you know, they're that good. So, you know, this is not going to be some, like, little hidden pick for mini bosses. It's not, you know. I can tell you from 5 attempts of trying to record this video, but yeah, it is a little upsetting, you know. Like, imagine this little secret little gun you can use for mini bosses. That'd be nice. But once again, it's essentially the Siege Breaker, and the Siege Breaker isn't really a good performing mini boss gun, so you can kind of just look at it and go, okay, yeah, this will not perform as that because it's essentially this. It's really weird because these guys are essentially the same. And I think the fire rate differences and the low damage differences, I think they just balance out because of, you know, how that works. So I think they are realistically the same exact gun with the slightest little difference. But yeah, I'll see you in lobby for the final analysis. So, should you get the Deathray? No. You shouldn't, because the Siege Breaker exists. They're the same gun, except the Deathray is more expensive to use. Why would you ever want the Deathray? like realistically speaking, yeah, it looks cool, but it's just the same thing as the Siege Breaker, with a new coat of paint and more expensive ammo. It's really not worth it, which is, you know, kind of upsetting, because you might look at the gun and be like, oh, this just must be one of the best, which technically, yes, it is, but that's because it's just the Siege Breaker with a new, you know, coat of paint. And it's not even like a case with the Wraith. The Wraith is very much different from the Siege Breaker. They're both very, very similar guns, but at least the Wraith has something else on the table with the silenced gun, the better perking options. I'm pretty sure it has more damage, statistically speaking, but it offers something different. But when you get the Deathray and the Siege Breaker, they're just the same gun, essentially, which is kind of upsetting from a review standpoint, because you can now use this video to also dictate your choice for the Siege Breaker, which means I technically don't have to make a video on the Siege Breaker. That isn't, because, you know, what I've said about the Deathray can also be just said about the Siege Breaker, not the Deathbreaker. But it is interesting. It is very interesting, especially in the case of Save the World. So anyways, I hope to see you all critters next time, and I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.